Okay, welcome in everyone to the final round of our eSports series, season 10 I believe it is, for eSports. Final round at Le Mans. We do have some custom weather to come into play. We've got a four-way championship fight. Let me just pull up the standings really quick. We have got Lost Tracking Racing, which is today going to be Senior Fak, Marathon Man, and Junebug. I think he's going to be joining for the race, so they are going to have to start at the back. But they are going to have a third driver, which is going to be critical because it is double points for the final two rounds. So it's very important you get everybody in to get some points. Then in second place, we've got Sim3 eSports White, which is their essentially second team. Their first team is currently leading in Split 1, I believe. And they've got Deep Joe, Andrea, and Lorex in some quite interesting MR cars. Obviously, you don't normally see. 4GT very well suited to Le Mans, 296 as well, and the R8 very good on the straight line speed. And they're in second place. And we've got Queen's Head Esports. We've got Whack Jumps in the Supra. We've got Anken Aber, which is Geklam, I think is how you pronounce it, in the Porsche, the new one. Interesting to see how that one goes with that car. And then we've got Emery Boyfriend, or EZM, in the Viper. Another car very well suited to Le Mans. Then the final team that I reckon is in the fight, they're only 45 points out of the championship, is AGT. We've got Tomate and CGCR. Not sure what we're going to call him, but who's the third one? Carl Litro. Another one in the 4GT. Well, so we've got 296 and another 296. So, again, very well suited. Nobody seems to be in anything a bit unusual for Le Mans except for Anken in the new Porsche. So he might be a potential disadvantage. Then, obviously, the final team is Virtual Luso Racing. They are the Portuguese drivers, I believe, or three of them at least. Zaxium in a 296. We've got Pererex in the Toyota Supra. And then we've got Fab10 in another Supra. So they're in very good cars for this track. I think Supra is meta for this track. Maybe Aston over a race distance potentially, but I personally would still favour the Supra. But yeah, those are the five teams that we've got lined up. Let me get the chat back up. Okay, so like I said, we do have some custom weather to get into, and we have some bad wind conditions looking at it. Headwind down the Mulsanne, so that is going to make a big difference to the lap times. So let's go and have a look at this weather. So as you can see, twilight conditions to start, and it is going to be cloudy as well. For, I think Pyro reckons it was 2.5 laps per weather slot, which is 7.5, 8 laps before we get R08 rain, which is going to make it very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the cars, particularly maybe the 4GT, something that's a little bit thirsty on the fuel, comes in after only 4 laps off the soft tyres and then goes for another set before the rain. I could definitely see that being an option, because your typical strategy would be 5 laps on the first stint, then 2 lots of 9 laps to the end of the race. Obviously, we've got rain. It's going to throw a big spanner in that plan. And then it will dry up after R08, and then we have some more R08 coming towards the end. So that is going to get very interesting, especially to see if people go on to intermediates or wets. I suspect we're going to get a few people, definitely mixed strategies, but I reckon some people will chance it on wets and then go straight back to dries maybe once the R8 period is over. And at the top, we've only got a couple of times on the board. We've got Andrea with a 59.9. 4 minute 0.7 for EZM. We actually have Deep Joe with a 57.3. What car is Deep Joe in? Looks like he's back in the pits. I'm not sure off the top of my head what that is. Where is he? There he's 4GT. Okay. Does have exceptionally strong top speed. Like I said, not so great on the fuel, pretty good on tyres if I remember rightly. And then penalties, another thing, it's going to be a big talking point. It's not a friendly penalty zone. You lose about a second to a second and a half for a half-second penalty. Oh, he's ended up going for a move on Andrea there. I think Andrea just giving that one up because it is just practice. But yeah, 57.3 is a good lap time in these conditions, especially with the headwind. It is night time, so that's going to make a slight difference to the overall lap times, but 57.3 is very solid. I wonder if he maybe had some slipstream. Could have potentially. Very powerful around here. You need to be careful not to get held up in the second half of the track as somebody's gone spinning at Indianapolis. Ooh, is that Axiom? Causing a little bit of a congestion there. Holding up EZM and who was it? Andrea, briefly. Yeah, a couple of drivers choosing to just sit in the pits, not wanting to get any laps in with these wind conditions. Just wants to go in completely blind. Let's see, is anybody... We know these two are not quite in a lap. Okay, so Tomate 59.2. Then who is next? Coming to the line. Marathon Man's on an outlap. CG, I think he's just finished an outlap as well. So I don't think we're going to get much of a look at the pace before we start qualifying. Going to be 10 minutes of qualifying. We've got 2 push laps. I'd be interested to see if anybody just pits after the first push lap, or the first outlap, sorry, and tries only 1 lap on very fresh tyres and low fuel. I don't think it really matters. The tyres should hold up well enough to do 2 push laps. Oh, CG gets a little bit of a slide through that corner, especially with the tailwind. That corner can be tricky, especially if you're running an aggressive downforce setup. Got Carlitro coming towards the end of the lap, so I think we're going to stick with him and see what kind of lap time he gets to at the end of the lap, if he gets to finish it. So obviously we are at 7:30 now, so Sinofract should be starting any time now, I reckon. And he's coming into the pits. Doesn't look like he was on a particularly great lap either, be looking at the times. Anybody else? We've got one more driver coming towards the end, but he's on his own out lap, so not going to be too representative. So based on what we can see, Deep Trail is looking pretty good on that 57.3. 2 seconds faster than the next time anyone has managed to put in. A couple of drivers, are they on the same team? No, they're not on the same team, but they are working together. Be interesting to see if the teams do group up in qualifying. So I remember that from last time. FGR in particular used the slipstreams to great effect, just all 3 of them in a line for the whole lap. Managed to get at least pole position, I think. And that was with Matti back in the Ferrari 458, which was not good for this track. I don't think he actually got pole, but he got him up the field. So like I said, it's going to be a big advantage for anyone who tries it. Ah, June's joined. That's why we're waiting. So, crucially, June is actually going to get to do qualifying. So that is big. Means they might not have to start at the back of the grid. We should be getting underway pretty soon now. In fact, putting the starting soon in the chat for everyone. Yeah, and we are going to be getting underway. I think we might jump on board, at least for the outlap, just to follow the lead car out. Probably is going to be Senor Fak. What's he got? He's got the Viper, which he was testing for the 12-hour race in the last off-season, and he said he was quite happy with it and pretty quick. So, going to be interesting to see how comfortable he is with it. Let's go on to the driver's eye view, as we just followed him around for this outlap. Cutting both of the apexes nicely there. And once the leaderboard updates on the left-hand side, we'll get an idea of if he's got any of his teammates around him. It doesn't look like it based on who's around at the moment. Marathon Man was only a couple of positions lower. Yeah, and they're starting to come through now, yeah, but he doesn't look like he's got any teammates to work with. So it looks like he's going to be going solo on this one. Still got that headwind. It's not perfectly a headwind, so that's slightly better for them. See if Deep Joe can maybe get back to his 57s again, like he did in practice. Breaking a little bit before the 100 there. Got to really set up a nice exit here. Viper very stable on the exit, even if you're running low downforce, which I would assume he would be. Couple of positions behind, maybe changing. Do the EZM maybe slowing down to try and work with Wack here? Yeah, I think that is what they're trying to do. Trying to just organise themselves. Marathon Man is maybe trying to close up to Fak, although Fak's not slowing down. Marathon Man, he's not really challenging to get into P2 either. Doesn't look like Senufak's waiting, so Senufak is definitely just going. Fak is the go. We will see. We will see. He's been doing well this season in eSports. Current leaders of the championship. Not a massive gap. Get these standings back up. What gap do they have? 15 points. And considering it's double points, it's not a very comfortable gap. If it's between the top two, it's basically going to come down to winner takes all. Whoever does better at this race might be the ones that get it. Yeah, in fact, having to lift there, especially with the tailwind. In ideal conditions, you would be taking that flat out, and then you can just brake after, but conditions not allowing. Coming up to that penalty zone, hasn't got a penalty. See, is anybody behind managed to pick up a penalty on this one? Everybody looks like they're keeping it pretty clean. Looks like all the Queen's Head guys are pretty close together. Just need Wack and EZM to let Tomate through. And Anken is probably the one that's really going to need that slipstream. Porsche is going to be a little bit of a disadvantage on top speed compared to the other cars. Be interesting to see if they do slow down to get together in order, because it doesn't really look like they're trying it. Unless they're just happy for Tomate to sit in between. He is a fast driver, so it wouldn't necessarily be a problem if he is in that group. Oh no, they are slowing down now. EZM is doing some last minute tyre warming, and the cars up ahead are also slowing down. Hopefully we get out of the way. Oh, that has messed up Anken, he's lost the slipstream maybe. Oh, that's going to be painful for Anken there. As he starts his push lap, but he's got quite a bit of a gap. With a good first sector, he can maybe make that up. Porsche versus the Supra and the Viper. If there was ever going to be a sector to make it up, it would be the first one. It's a little bit tighter. Oh, and Wax already picked up half-second penalty. We're going to saw him go super late on the brakes. Almost went into EZM. He might bail out of this now and slow down to give Anken the slipstream. Although this will still count for a fastest lap because he's going to serve the penalty on this lap. Doesn't look like he's slowing down, but he's not going to be able to bump EZM from there, and Anken is going to be... Oh, he's got a half-second penalty as well. A couple of half-second penalties. I think saw one behind Tomate on 1 second. Luckily they are going to set a second attempt at these laps. Carlitro looks like he either just made a mistake or he's backing out of the lap a little bit. Wouldn't normally be over on that side. Yeah, he's slowing down. Anyway, we've got all the SFE drivers together. Looks like they are trying to set up a slipstream train. Andrea a little bit off the back of Ditro and Lorix. And Lorix has picked up a half-second penalty through that first chicane. Still going to stay out in front, give his teammates some slipstream. Yeah, just bump drafting. I think he's just pulled out to spot the braking zone here. Because with it getting dark, it is going to be a little bit tricky. You definitely do not want to go into the back of your teammate. Yeah, it cost him a little bit. Nice line through there, should get a good exit. And then get the slipstream again. Yeah, took nicely in the slipstream. I don't think he's going to go past here. He might get let past into Indianapolis, potentially. Because he's going to want the slipstream down this next straight as well. And crucially, Andrea's actually closed up a little bit and has managed to get himself back into proper slipstream range. Now, is Lorix going to let Deep Joe go here? Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, and then Lorix pulls him behind. Hey, welcome. Goes a little bit wide, dips a couple of wheels into the gravel. Gets a good exit now. Lorix is going to serve that half-second penalty. Probably going to drop behind his teammate. Yeah, and he will. Obviously, this lap is still going to count for Lorix, so he's still got to be pushing through these Porsche curves. Let's go to our leaders, just about to finish his lap. What kind of times are we looking at? We saw Deep Joe in the 57s in practice. 58.5. Good first lap there from Senior Fax, set a benchmark. How's ProRX doing? Looks going to be slightly behind. 59.0. There, Marathon Man with a 4 minutes 0.7, a little bit over. He's at end. So looks like a good lap. It is 57.7, 8/10 purple. Wack coming in on a 59.4, and that was with the penalty. Then we got Tamak coming in also with a 1 second penalty, so we know he's got more to come. And then Deep Joe with a 58.0. 59.4 for Andrea, 4.09 for Carlitro. Like I said, we saw he was sort of pulling out on the first Mulsanne straight, so that's not surprising. Lorix has backed out the lap completely. Not sure if he made a mistake or not, but 4.16, similar kind of lap to CG. So they're really going to need to get this lap in. Oh, and Anken! He's got a half-second penalty again, but he needs to get a lap in. Who is that behind him? Tomate, pretty fast. So could do either or and let him go and pull him behind for the slipstream. Tomate definitely wants to be in front, because they'll make his life a lot easier when they get into the actual corners instead of all the straights. Assuming that Anken can keep up and do a little bit of bump drafting. Oh, but he has a big slide on the exit. It goes really wide. I think that's going to give him another penalty, because the penalty zones have been updated. If you're wide on the exit there, you do get a half-second penalty, and he does. So up to 1 second now, so that is going to be definitely a bit of a problem. 1 second penalty. There might be 2 seconds lost, net time loss. Let's go up to Senior Fack. He's coming up to a split now. See if he's improving. He is half a second up. He's not purple, but he is half a second up. Needs to find another 4/10 to get himself on provisional pole. We've missed Pererex coming through there. Who else? Where's EZM? He's going purple again. So Sinophat going to have to potentially find even more times to get himself on pole position. And he is finding it, another 10th. It's a nice clean exit. And he is competing in the same car as EZM. So they've got the same tools to work with. They could have different setups. But the Porsche curves are going to be where it struggles the most, the Viper. Obviously it excels in acceleration and top speed. And he's going to be feeling a little bit of the tyres wearing away. Ooh, down to 3/10. Lost a couple of tenths in that sector. Still might be able to get himself up into provisional P2. As he exits out of the Porsche curves. Hard to tell if he was wide there, but I'm assuming he's okay. He hasn't got picked up a penalty. Coming through the final chicane, looks a little bit late on the brakes for the first part. How's the exit? Pushing the exit. Oh, barely improves in the end. Stays P3. Who's the next one to the line? We'll go to EZM. He was improving. Not going to get any splits now till he hits the line. Let's see if he's managed to keep that advantage. Pererex up into P3 with a 58.0. Only a few hundredths behind Deep Joe at the moment. Marathon Man improves. Can EZM improve? Oh, only by 2 thousandths, but he does improve. Wacky improves with a clean lap, 58.7. Where is Deep Joe coming through the final chicane? Oh, picks up a half-second penalty. Wouldn't have quite been enough for pole position. Would have been an improvement, but still holds on to P2 for now. Who else have we got coming? We've got June, picks up a second penalty. CGCR, who needed to get a lap in. 401.4. How about Tomate? Where have you got up to? You got up to P10. And Lorex with a late one, 57.9. And that was without any slipstream, I think. I'm pretty sure he was on his own. Spider-Dan can end up 14th in the end. On a 4:02, and then Zadaxium never really getting a clean lap in on a 4:12. Going to try and make his way forward from there. So let's see what have we got. We've got Viper on pole position. We've got SFE second and third. So SFE definitely outdoing LTR at the moment. Got a 2, 3, and 7 versus 5, 8, and 9. But they're all in the top 10. Senor Fak is going to get a great launch with the Viper. Same as Marathon Man. And what's SFE got? Not great off the line, actually, so they're potentially at risk of losing a couple of positions here. EZM should have a nice lead into turn 1. Because I reckon Senor Fat could be second after the start, as long as he gets through the grid pretty quick. He's got a 2-minute break. Let me just take screenshots of the results quickly. There we go. So yeah, we'll get underway in 2 minutes. Like I said, it is going to be dry. It's going to be cloudy for the first part of the race. Then we do have rain coming. But I'm just pretty certain that nobody is going to try and fuel save to the rain because it is just way too far for them to make it and save themselves a pit stop. It is a long pit stop here as well. I think it's 30 seconds pit loss, I think. Maybe a little bit more than that. So your strategy really is going to be centered around making as few pit stops as possible, which means you're going to have to time your strategy with the rain. Because we know it's coming. RO8, I believe, is guaranteed rain as well. Whereas some of the others aren't. RO8 does guarantee you some rain, and it is going to be heavy. So it'll be very interesting to see how that affects everything. Because traditionally, obviously, in the rain, you would prefer a higher downforce setup. I would imagine everybody, given that the majority of the race and qualifying was going to be in the dry, is going to be on a low downforce setup. So it'll be interesting to see how different cars react to the rain. MR cars should be pretty well suited to it. The Viper, I could see going either way. It's very stable on the corner exits, assuming you can short shift and still get the power down in the rain. So that's got potential to be pretty good. Any of the MR cars should be fine in the rain. 296 can be a little bit twitchy, so that one I'd maybe worry about a little bit more than some of the others. But it seems like the majority are in MR cars, or the Viper, or the Supra. Supra's probably the one that's going to come out worst in that in the rain, I would guess. Although it is still pretty handy. Going to be starting at 50, I assume. We're not going to be waiting 11 minutes. Or hopefully not. And then we'll be able to get this race underway. Very close, only 3/10 covering the top 4. Yeah, 50. Yep, Queen's Head on pole. Obviously, Queen's Head still very much in it. Got 1-6. Anken, he was a last minute sub, I believe, which is why he's in the 992, which is not particularly well suited to this track. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Astro who was going to be in, but I'm not sure what car he's in this season. But Anken is a very quick driver, so maybe he just needs a little bit of time to get into the rhythm. Because if he's a last minute sub, he might not have done that much practice. Okay, we should be getting underway very soon. Hopefully, there we go. And we'll get this race underway. 23 laps. Should take, I think it's between an hour and 40 and 2 hours with the rain. Depends how bad the rain is. And how many extra pit stops you got to make, because that's going to add like almost a minute to your lap time. And we are getting underway. It is going to get a little bit dark quite early on, which is going to make it a little bit trickier to follow all the action. Viper, 100%. EZM, as long as he doesn't jump the start, has got this for sure. And I'm reckoning Senor Fak is going to be up in second. So let's get this race underway. We've got 3, 4, 5 red lights. And they're out pretty quickly. EZM gets a good launch and is away. Senor Fak already up into third, already up into second. And we can see the other one, Marathon Man, coming around the outside. Deep Joe covering off the inside there. Marathon Man trying to go side by side with Pererex. Oh, somebody getting forced wide. I think that was Marathon Man. Going side by side with Wack now. Didn't get a penalty, so there's definitely some contact, I'm imagining, that forced him off, because usually would get a penalty for going that wide. And looks like we've had some issues down at the back. Somebody has made a mistake or been in an incident. Let's have a quick drop back. Who is it? Ooh, AGT there, one of the... Oh, a couple of them, 14th and 15th for the AGT guys. Calitro's not on his own though. He's got Fab 10 there with him, and they're a little bit tailed off the back. Anken already up into 11th, so good start from him. And we've pretty much split into 2 packs now. Marathon Man in 6th, being bumped by Wack, although Wack's going for the move now. Then inside, who's later on the brakes? Wack, a lot later on the brakes. But gets it stopped nicely, gets around the corner. Keeps it within track limits. Great chicane there, got half a second gap already. Might not be safe from the Viper though. Does have great acceleration and he's going to have the slipstream. EZM is still holding the lead from Senor Fak at the moment. Marathon Man, I wonder if he's going to maybe try bumping. Doesn't actually look like he's gaining enough to bump before the braking zone. Yeah, has to brake early. That gap's back up to 6/10 now. White Jump's starting to pull away. He's still got a second gap ahead of him. Two Pererex, and then it is two SFE drivers on the back of Senor Fak, who's already a second and a half down. Wonder if he's maybe doing a little bit of fuel saving. Because I would be surprised if EZM is. It's not really his style. His style is very much just flat out and go for it. And he will make the strategy work around that. No, in fact, it doesn't look like he's short shifting. Not any more than you would normally in the Viper. Is this going to be a change of position? I think Lorex may be letting his teammate go there. Now going to try and pull themselves back up to the back of Senor Fak. Oh, Deep Joe. Oh, I was unintentional. He almost lost it there. Oh, now I think he's trying to give that place back. And it's costing him all load of time. Oh, he's beautiful for EZM out front. Unfortunate for Fak because there wasn't really anything he could do. Deep Joe just had a big twitch coming through the fast right-hander. Did well to get him back under control before the corner. So in fact, to be honest, lucky that he kept it on the track, because if you end up in the gravel there, you can use a hell of a lot more time. And what's that? 3.2 seconds now for EZM, so that is a good lead to have already this early into the race. Pererex gained out of that up into 4th. Wack also gained. Lorex did well to end up in 2nd after all that, because he did get held up by his teammate a little bit when he was trying to give that position back. Looks like Lorex, especially in this final sector, is managing to pull away and close in on EZM. Yes, I do, but I don't really practice anymore. So we didn't do that well. We had our super subs like Matteo and Jensen for a couple of rounds to keep us in the fight, but we didn't make it into the top 5 this season. Otherwise I would have been driving instead of commentating. And Lorex is losing that time again. So all that time he gained in the final sector, he has lost, I'm assuming just on acceleration out of the final corner and turn 1. But still pulling away from Senor Fak, so this is very good from Lorex, building himself a gap, which he's going to need, especially if these guys are bump drafting each other. I see Pererex, looks like he's working, nope, never mind, he's not working with Senor Fak. I think Fak will just pull in behind if Pererex gets ahead. Although they're pretty evenly matched, Super versus Viper. Super very slightly pulling ahead. And does get that position up into P3. So in fact went a little bit wide through the first part of the chicane. He's lost 7 tenths already to Pererex. Got 7 tenths over Deep Joe though, so Deep Joe making a mistake in that chicane as well. And there is a pretty big train behind Deep Joe at the moment. Wacky's going to look for the move. I think he might be just pulling out to spot the braking zone. Yeah, just stays in line. Deep Joe's actually got more fuel than Fak does in the Viper, so Fak definitely isn't really saving fuel. So just struggling a little bit for pace at the moment. EZM extending his lead through this section of the track, not particularly surprising. Up to 3.8, going to be up to 4 seconds at least by the end of this straight. And Pererex is closing in on Lorex in that section as well. Audi probably not able to push as much into the chicanes on the Mulsanne. Should gain that back through the Porsche curves, I would imagine. As we've got some positions changing hands behind. Wack has managed to get himself up into P5. Head of Deep Joe. Oh, Marathon Man very late on the brakes. Deep Joe makes a little bit of contact with Wack. Luckily, he's the one who comes out worst out of all that, down into 9th now. I think the dirty air and the tailwind are just catching him out in that section. Oh, and then he gets spun. And then he rejoins back into the path of somebody. I don't think they spun, luckily. I think it was Fab 10 because he has a little bit of damage. So now Deep Joe down into 14th. We know he's got the pace when he's on his own. He's going to have to use it. Just a couple of early mistakes, and then they were trying to go 3 wide through that corner, which is just not really possible. And ended up getting spun around. EZM up to 5 seconds of a gap out in front. Like I said, doesn't look like he's fuel saving at all. Just going flat out. So building the gap is the right thing as Senior Fact makes a mistake into the chain. Oh, and picks up a half-second penalty as well. Wack's moved his way forward really nicely up into P5. But interesting to see if he wants to work together with Fac or maybe go for the move immediately. 56.9 from EZM. That is a good lap. That is a really good lap, especially with the headwind. I think a headwind actually suits the Viper quite well, just because of how well it accelerates. So it's got the more power, more torque to push its way through the headwind. Sinufak having a really good first sector though. Not enough to get out of slipstream, and then we've got Andrea in 6th on the back of Wack. And then I think Marathon Man with a half-second penalty just in front of Tomate, who's going for the move. Got to be alongside into the braking zone. Or he was, but I think he just backed out a little bit there. Just to not cost him any more time. Viper definitely got the legs on the 296. And we've got June up into 17th. Zedaxon making his way forward after not doing great in qualifying. And then Anken is still with this group, which is crucial for him. Does not want to be losing slipstream with the Porsche. But you can see how much being in the pack and being battling has cost him. 4:02, he was basically 5.2 seconds down on the leader on the last lap. And it's a long lap, but that is... Oh, and somebody, I think there's Z-Axiom. Yeah, Z-Axiom doing a full 360, see himself pointing in the right direction. Still managed to join ahead of CG. Does not had a great start to the race. All on his own. Still setting a personal best at the moment. Second and third have closed up now. Pereira's closed in that gap pretty quickly. And then Senor Fax still coming under a little bit of pressure from Wack, but Wack might just wait till the penalty zone at this point. No real reason not to. Pereira's going to try and go all the way around the outside of Lorix. He's fully ahead. He is. Using the speed of the Supra to get that move done. Well, it's setting a pretty big PB there. Not sure what kind of lap Pereira's is on, but it must be on a pretty good one. Wacky's now going to get this position on Senor Fat. Is anybody else going to come through? I don't think so. No, Andrea's too far behind to gain that position. Got a lot of LTR fans in the chat, so welcome everyone. This is going to be very interesting because we've got Queen's Head 1, 4 and 10th at the moment. We've got LTR, we've got 5th, 8th and 9th. And then SFE we've got 3rd, 6th and 13th, I believe, after Deep Joe's spin. But there's plenty of time to come back, especially when the rain hits. Good strategy call, or just being further back on track and getting the dry conditions. Going to make a big difference. Oh, to overall races, Andrea loses the rear through that chicane, manages to keep it under control though. Still setting a personal best, 58.6. Let's see, what kind of lap times are we doing? 57.8. EZM still the fastest, but only by a couple of tenths from Pererex. We will see. I don't think they're in a position to do it at the moment. Oh, Pererex makes a mistake. Lorex, I think, just managed to keep it within track limits there. Made the angle of the next corner a bit awkward. Hasn't got damage, didn't get a penalty, which the game can actually give you there. Even though you're all four wheels on the grass, it's not gaining time, it can still give you a penalty for that. Like I said, this is just great news for EZM out front. Wacky's going to get that position on Pererex. I think he backed out of that one with the dirty tyres. Didn't want to be trying to fight his way around the outside of anyone. And Wack already now up into third. 57.9 on the last lap, basically matched his teammate. And with the slipstream, he's going 3 tenths faster than he did the last lap. He might just go straight for this move, you know. Pulls out, is Pererex going to pull out and follow him and push him? Yeah, two supers working together. Never mind, he's going to go for the move instead into the second chicane. Looks like he gets it. Wack manages to pull back in line. It's not going to lose too much time. Now, if I was Wack, I would probably just follow at this point. You've seen Pererex move his way into P2. Yeah, he made a mistake, but you know he's got the pace. Although, to be fair, Wack fighting with Pererex is not a bad idea, because he's going to be holding up Lorex, Fak, and potentially Andrea if he gets into the fight. And that's just going to allow his teammate to pull away even more up front. So it's not a horrible idea. Also, this fastest lap from EZM could be crucial and might not get beaten with the rain coming. Wacky is going to go for the move. Gets fully ahead. Okay, so now we get to see what kind of pace Wack's got on his own. Has he got enough to pull away from Pererex? Looks like he actually closed into EZM on that straight. Tyres pretty much the same. Ooh, Wack's very wide there. Managed to keep it out of the barrier. But he might be coming under pressure from Pererex again. Down to a tenth, down under a tenth. And Lorex, I'm not sure who he was trying to push, but I think he's ended up pushing Pererex through. Wack's still trying to hold it around the outside, should still hold on to P3. Yeah, and he does. So, in fact, just keeping a little kind of a watching brief on these three fighting it out. Oh, Wack, he was a little bit wide and it messes up his line. I think he must have got hit there. Way off into the gravel. And EZM is in after 4 laps. I thought somebody might try that. Few people coming in. Is everybody going to come in? Maybe everybody's coming in. Who's carried on? Okay, no, so we've got a couple of drivers. We've got Pererex, we've got Lorex. Half-second penalty. It's going to be cost at the end of this lap. We've got Tomate carrying on. We've got June17 also carrying on. Anybody else? Or is everybody coming in? Zadaxian looks like he's carrying on. And CG is into the pits. So, bit of a divergence in strategy. I thought some people might, just to avoid doing any fuel saving. I'm assuming that contact must have been with Lorex, unless he was avoiding Pererex in front of him, maybe? Holding up to 58% for EZM. That should be enough for 5 more laps for him. So they obviously seem pretty sure that is when the rain is going to hit. Andrea actually gets out in second. 9 seconds down, jumps Senor Fak, who's put quite a bit more fuel in, I think 10% more. So we'll come back to Senor Fak later in the race. Then we've got Marathon Man out in 9th, we've got Deep Joe on 50% fuel. Probably enough for 5 laps if he wants to make it 5 laps. Then obviously we've got Wack, only just in front of Anken now. Although they did fill up the tank. Not 100% sure on that strategy, but we'll have to see how it works out as Fab 10 just gets the move done on Anken. I probably wouldn't have done that. I'd have probably filled to 100% when it was raining. Or when they're going onto wet tyres. Because I think for now you do want to keep the lower fuel. Maybe just wants to give him an offset and gain some clean air. Because we know we saw he had pace. And he was battling through the pack. So maybe he's going to show us what he's got now. Then back out front. Oh, we've got more penalties. Half second for Perex. Tomate, he's managed to get his way past Lorix, who's picked up a second half-second penalty. Oh, and Perex spins again. Oh, makes another mistake. Different place. Oh, and he's just about out of the way for June as they come through. That is going to be costly for Perex. Probably going to be close to a 10-second loss there. Sedaxion with 1 second penalty. Also staying out for that 5th lap. Then we've got EZM, he's got 10 seconds of clear air as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. Looks a little bit leery through the hairpin. So now that promotes Tomate into the lead. Only going to be until the end of this lap when he has to pit. Same for all the top 5 who didn't pit on the last lap. And let's get an idea of how much that second penalty is going to cost. It's going to take him over a 2-second gap. So double what the actual penalty is supposed to be. Does lock out at basically at 2 seconds. I think Tomate making a little bit of a small mistake. Or just a different line maybe, because he's gaining all that time back. Yeah, and the gap back up to 2.2 now. Let's follow all these drivers in. I don't think anybody's close. The person with the most fuel is actually Tomate, but even he's not got enough to go for an extra lap as well. So everybody's going to be coming in. Got Junior and Perex. Also going to be coming in. And EZM has taken chunks out of Sedaxion on this lap. Fresh tyres. Some more fuel in the car. He's taken 4 seconds out. I think just since the last time we were on him. Andrea got 1.7 gap over Senor Fak. Anybody doing any battling? Everybody pretty spread out. Anken, oh, Fab 10 just making a mistake, I think. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, that was lucky that he was just out of the way in time. That could have been a monster crash. So everybody who just came in is going to be on outlap, so we're not going to really get any good comparison in terms of lap time. Where is Tomate going to come out? Almost into P2. Going to come out between Senor Fak and Andrea. Puts in basically the same amount of fuel as Fak as well, so he's gained really well out of doing the overcut. And with Andrea with a half-second penalty, that's going to gain him that position. And we've only got 1 or 2 laps before the first lot of rain's going to hit. Or the first lot of rain should hit. And I say should because I don't know for 100% certainty that it will rain. I'm pretty sure it should. I'm sure these guys will have done some testing to get an idea of the strategies and when exactly it was going to rain and what kind of rain is coming. But it's looking good for EZM out front at the moment. He's probably going to be resenting the fact that it is about to rain. Andre getting very close to track limits there through the chicane. Yeah, gets 1 second, or gets a half second anyway. Brings him up to a second total. I think it was the middle part of that chicane he just caught. Oh, and CG's left. Not sure if that was a disconnect or not. I think he was struggling a little bit to off the back of the pack until Fab 10 spun. Goes to Axiom and Carlitro having a little bit of a battle. And Ankenhammer 3 seconds behind his teammate. And Lorex only just came out in front of Wack. Obviously that 2 second or 1 second penalty costing him a couple of seconds on the in lap, as well as having to follow Tomate. How's the wind doing? Wind's in the same direction. I don't know how much we can read into the times from Wack Jumps as well, especially on his Delta, because he's had slipstream for most of his laps and he's on a full tank now versus half a tank. Wack has basically come out in the group he was in, because Pererex isn't that much further up the road after his spin. And Lorex might get past here by Wack. 3/10 is definitely close enough to get this move done. Yeah, now down to 2/10. Just needs to time this right. Yeah, Lorex not really looking to defend that. And Wack goes through. Lorex actually come out on medium tyres. That's interesting. Is he maybe going to try and drive through the rain on the medium tyres? I just assumed everybody was going to be going on softs. And everybody else has gone on soft, so Lorex is trying something different. Explains a bit more about why Wack closed that gap so quickly. That is a bold choice. We'll see how he's able to keep up with Wack through this section, because this is the real section where you're going to want the grip. And you can see he's already lost 7/10 or so. Brings that up to 9/10, almost a second in that sector. But obviously on all the straight line sectors, it's not going to cost him anything. But that is bold if he's planning to drive through the rain. Because it's not going to dry up quickly in the night. So he must be banking on it being a short shower rather than proper torrential rain. Because I should mention there is normally a 2 compound rule. You have to use 2 different compounds in the race. But if you use intermediates or wets while the track is wet, that goes out the window. And given that there's going to be 2 spells of rain, there shouldn't really be any need for anybody to use the mediums. Unless they're trying something different, potentially something brave and going through the rain. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that. Because we shouldn't be too long away from the rain now. Got EZM comfortably out front with a 12-second gap, 57.9 on the last lap. Tomate was on his out lap, but he is currently on PB pace. So back, sticking with him pretty well. Now ahead of Andrea after that penalty. Marathon Man up into P5. So 3rd, 5th and 7th for LTR. That has improved their position considerably, although Marathon Man is about to lose this position to Deep Joe, it looks like. Marathon Man's still going to have the slipstream from Andrea, but he is on the outside. Deep Joe manages to get it stopped. Yeah, keeps it within track limits as well. So I think this is still advantage LTR. 3-6-7 versus 4-5 and 10. But now Deep Joe's got his teammate to work with. assuming they are going to work together. And they've obviously got a different idea to Lorix. Whoa. Andrea going flying there. Must have hit the bollard on the inside of the corner. Deep Joe, I think, just overshot the braking and didn't quite manage to keep it on track. So gets a half-second penalty as well as losing like a second's worth of time. That is always very annoying track limit there on the exit of that corner. Because even if you lose time, if you're full throttle through there, it still gives you a penalty. Marathon Man looking for the move on Andrea. Gets squeezed and has to back out of it. Oh, and Deep Joe's gone deep on the brakes again. He's really pushing it through that corner. But that's the third time that's caught him out. Luckily manages to keep it on track though. Probably going to be safe from June behind. June pulls over to catch the slipstream as soon as that gap closes, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, and it's not down to 0.8 though. And we've got Pereira-X. Wack jumps now up to 4 seconds ahead of Lorix. It's going to come under the attentions of Anken pretty soon. Still improving, 3/10 PB. Then we've got Zadaxium 12th, Carlitro 13th, and then Fab 10 a little bit off the back. Obviously recovering after that spin. Ooh, he's taking a lot of grass through that corner. That might be what caused the crash the first time. EZM still holding that gap pretty stable. Smarte with 57.7 though. Nobody looks like they're approaching that 56.9 yet. And this gap also stayed pretty much the same. 1 second gap. They're just closing up in different sections of the track. Rain here, is it? I'm assuming you've got the weather radar from somebody. So it's not actually hit yet, but he's telling me it's on the radar. So probably by the end of this lap then. Everybody's got the same idea though. Nobody wanted to come in this lap and preempt it, so it must have just rocked up on the map. Which is about right. They're 7 laps in. Rain's going to hit half a lap's, 3/4 of a lap's time. Question is, how bad is it going to be? And is Lorix going to pit? That is the big question. Because if he does pit, then mediums definitely were not the right choice. Smarte getting a really good run through the chicane, builds up that gap, Senior Fat then closes it in on the straights. So that gap's staying pretty consistent. This looks like probably the highest up place it's going to turn into a battle, because Deep Joe looks like he's got the pace. Marathon Man is he's in the slipstream of Andrea, just can't quite get close enough to go for a move, at least into the second chicane. How's his exit from this one? Ooh, should be okay. Close to a track limit. Yeah, he's okay on that one. Half a second back now. Deep Joe again, also closing in, down to 6/10 now. Andrea feeling the need to go defensive. Oh, Marathon Man late on the brakes. Small tag onto the back of Andrea, but it didn't cost him anything. Oh, Deep Joe wide again, kicked up the gravel. Is that going to give him another half-second penalty? Nope, looks like he got away with it that time. Is Marathon Man going to be able to get this move done? It looks like it. Has to go all the way around the outside, but the Viper does have the speed advantage. Looks like he's got that move done. Yeah, up into P4. Big Andrea not too happy with the little bit of a tyre gap the hairpin before. Marathon Man just managed to keep on track. Looked like he maybe gone a little bit deep into there. And Andrea's closing up through all the corners, but he's about to get dropped on the exit of that corner. Nothing he can do against the Viper. Oh, and Tomatoes make the mistake, down to 1/10 for P2. Is Fat going to go for the move? Looks like he's to the inside, but backs out of it. And Tomate might be able to make the gap back up in this section. Especially now he's giving dirty air to Fak in the Viper. Would not surprise me if Fak is maybe running minimum front and rear. Because he's lost a whole second in that sector. Okay, so EZM is in. There's no rain hit the track yet, but there's obviously on the radar. Is Lorex going to pit? Is anybody else going to stay out on the soft tyres? Looks like everybody's coming in for now. June looks very aggressive on the pit entry. Managed to close a lot of that gap up. Wack coming in as well. Yeah, he is. Okay. So, what we thought was right. This was the only way that this strategy was going to make sense if he was going to try and stay out on the dry tyres. The rain still hasn't hit. I would guess these guys have got to go out intermediates. He's not the only one. Calitro in... Ooh. Fab 10 going into the wall on the entry to the pit lane. Quite easy to do. It's quite hard braking zone. Well, Calitro's carried on the soft tyres. Yeah, EZM on the intermediate tyres. Up to 100% fuel. Wack is going to gain a few positions if everybody else goes up to 100% as well. Everybody's coming out on the intermediates. Anybody going for the wets? No, everybody on intermediate so far. Same for Wack. He's jumped up ahead of June. Also on intermediates. Yeah, I think everybody's got to be in intermediates. Nobody's taking a gamble on wets. Which tells me that there's a slightly higher possibility as the rain starts to hit now. Let's go back up to Lorex and see how he handles it. He's got a half-second penalty. But he's not going to be too bothered about it. What's his gap? Only 17 seconds. He needs this rain to not last that long and not be too heavy. You can see it's starting to get harder. It's approaching the 1/3 mark. That is the point where it's going to be intermediate tyres. So for now he's still okay. We've just hit the intermediate mark. But it shouldn't be too bad. But by the end of this straight, it could be a big problem. They're already staying away from that curb. Short shifting on the exits. She's going to need to do. It's building its way up to halfway. And EZM's already taken a second out of that gap. This is the first point where he's got to be really careful here. Yeah, you can see he's very early on the brakes. Does he get it stopped? Yes, he has managed to get it stopped. Doesn't spin it on the exit. EZM now back up into second. Going to be down under 14 seconds pretty quickly. Yeah, and it is, and Calitro's round. Needs to be careful he doesn't just keep doing 360s here. Oh, that's not a great rejoin. Luckily, everybody's managed to get around him. Back going to this side. Oh, and he's spun again. Yep, this is what we were talking about. Oh, and Lorex is off as well. It was an aggressive decision to try and stay out on slick tyres. I just can't see how it's worth it. Because it's dark, it's not going to dry out fast. The wind picked up as well, 6.5 meters per second. That's basically doubled since the start of the race. He's still going, he's not got damage, he's in P1 for now, although EZM is probably going to get this before the Porsche curves. If he catches him through the Porsche curves, it's going to be a little bit awkward for EZM. Might be just able to get him into the braking zone, because Lorex is going to have to play it so safe, yeah. Just blitzes past. I think Lorex has just got to call time on this strategy and come in. because he's lost 17 seconds on this lap alone, and he's losing more still. I think it's time to cut the losses, get on some intermediate tyres. Is he going to come in? Nope, he's determined to stay out. Until EZM gets a 30-second lead, he's technically still okay, because he's not going to have to pit again to go back onto dry tyres. But now he's got a 3.5-second penalty because he cut across the chicanes. And there's so much risk as well to the guys coming behind on intermediates, where they've got grip and he just doesn't. He just cannot carry the speed. And the cars behind have got to be aware of that. So that's Deep Joe up into second, Smarte up into third, Andrea up to fourth, Cinepac's going to get passed into fifth. And he's 10 seconds. He is drying out though. Still on intermediate conditions. And he's got a 3.5-second penalty to serve at the end of the lap, as Perrek's going to drive around the outside. We've got June 8th, got Wacky in 9th. Is this going to work out? I just don't see it drying that fast to... It has stopped raining though. It's going to be very interesting. Like I said, he's not bothered about the straights. He's not going to be losing anything he wouldn't already be losing pretty much. But in the braking zones, he's still got to be very careful. Holding up June a little bit there. Cannot see what the rain amount is on the track at the moment because of the headlights. It's getting, I tell you what, it's getting low. He's getting close to being dry conditions. He's not actually on the racing line. There's a chance he's got this right, actually. Might have to take back everything I said about this, because there's a chance he's got this right. He's basically in conditions that are okay for slick tyres. He's still going to have to be careful because they're going to be cold. And he is still losing time. And when the guys come out of the pits, they're going to be on soft tyres and they're going to have the tyre advantage again. But it's actually not worked out too badly for now, as long as he doesn't make any more mistakes. And the conditions are all coming to him all the time. It's drying up a lot faster than I expected. Wind has changed direction as well. Something the drivers are going to have to keep an eye on. Yeah, he's not really losing any time now. I wouldn't be trying to pass anyone, especially with a 3.5-second penalty. So this is going to be costly. He was at 20 seconds. He's now going to be... It's down to 24 already. Probably 25 by the end of the straight. He's still going to be close enough to take the lead. And I'm imagining everybody's going to be coming in. Yeah, EZM's coming in already. Dejo's closed that gap in. He's carried on. Okay, difference of opinion. Smarte staying out, Cinefax staying out. Andrea stays out, Pereira comes in. June's going to stay out. Fac's coming in. Ankin's coming in. Lorex, we know he's going to stay out. He should come out ahead of all these guys that are pitting now. Yeah, and he is. eSRM's going to come out on soft tyres, 100%. And he's going to fill up while he's here, so we're not going to get an accurate reading of exactly where the positions line up. He does have others. He's gone on to mediums. Will the softs not last long enough for the next rain spell? We're almost halfway through the race. What's everybody else done? Prorix has gone on softs. How about Wacky? He's going to fill up. He's come out on softs as well, so I'm not sure why eSRM's gone on mediums. Obviously it wasn't a team decision, because his teammates are on the soft tyres. But Marathon Man must have made a mistake or something on the last lap, because he's lost a lot of time and a lot of positions. Comes out on the soft tyres though. And Calitro, it's not worked out awfully, despite the spins. He's still with Fab 10. He's still a little bit off the back of the pack, but he's on worn tyres. Got a 10.5 second lead for Lorex. I don't think 10.5 seconds is 50% of fuel worth, so I think he's slightly ahead. But I can also see eZM closing that gap in as long as he doesn't make any mistakes with the soft tyres and the Viper. So the question now is, what are the drivers out front doing? Are they just going for one extra lap until it's definitely dry conditions? Or are they going to try and last until the next lot of rain comes? That is quite a big gap between rain for them to hang it out for. Going nice and wide to try and keep the tyres cool. Senior Falk and Andrea picking up half-second penalties each. So we've got a few different ideas going on here. eZM is actually still closing it even on the fresh mediums. I forgot he wasn't actually on softs. I'm assuming he still thinks he needs 2 compounds. That's my only logical reason for thinking that. He thinks he needs to use 2 compounds. It doesn't really matter because he's still closing up to Lorex. Lorex is still going to need to build up a little bit of confidence and some temperature in the tyres. But the tyres themselves should have enough grip, because they're not that worn. It's just a question of getting the temperature back up. Now, what are the guys at the front doing? Are they going to pit? It's still wet enough on the racing line that they're not destroying the tyres. So they don't have to pit. What's the gap to Lorex? 20 seconds. As the sun starts to rise. Are they going to pit? Yes, they are. So doesn't look anybody was thinking of hanging out until, maybe Fac's going to risk it. June on the same team as Fac. Is they going to risk it? No, they're coming in for dry tyres. And Lorex actually pulled away a little bit from eZM in that sector. Not too surprising, Viper versus Audi through there. I think eZM is still going to have closed this gap. Oh, as he has a snap on the brakes. Oh, and he's getting on a lot of the wet parts of the track, using the curve on the exit. He's chancing it, but I mean, it's dry conditions now. That's got a 14-second lead, and he only lost a second on that last lap. My only thinking is that he thinks the rain is going to come soon enough that he doesn't have to pit again, but his tyres might be dead by then. He's only lost about 3/10 through that sector, so he should start to swing back his way through the straights. Wind's changed again. It's keeping turning. It's actually getting to a much faster wind as well. And Tomate's come out on mediums as well, so it's not universal as to what tyres everyone's gone on. I thought everyone would just come out on softs. Deep Joe has come out on softs. They haven't fueled up as much as EZM has, though. I still think this is advantage EZM, as long as the rain doesn't come in time for Senor Fak and he has to pit. Wack and Ankun have both pitted for a second time. I think Wack might have had an incident, a small incident, because he did lose a little bit of time, but he's had to pit again. That's why he's so far back. Because what's the gap to leaders? 59. The guys he was actually racing originally, he's 20 seconds back. And they've done the same amount of pit stops, so he's had some sort of problem somewhere. Which is a little bit unusual for Wack, because he's usually very good in the rain. But they're both back on soft tyres now. Calitro, I think, maybe having to come in for another set of soft tyres. He tried the same strategy, yeah, and he overshoots the pit entry as well. That is not too surprising because it will still be very wet in there. The gap has stayed the same between Sinofaka and Lorex at the moment. But obviously, we're coming up to the sector where Lorex is really going to start taking time out. He's also losing time to EZM through that section. Again, not too surprising. The question is, can he gain enough of it back that it's over the lap, not a net loss? We are halfway through. Let me have a quick pull up of the rain pattern. Where is it? Which slot have we got? So 7 and 8 are the next rain slots. So we've got about 4 laps. Maybe till it rains. That's a long time to be out on intermediates. And it's, with the sun coming up, it's going to dry out even more and there's going to be less water for him to use to cool the tyres. Yeah, I think he's bailing out of that now. Okay, so Lorex is going to take the lead. His strategy did work. He is the net race leader. He does have less fuel than EZM. That is the only thing that's maybe not making him locked in as net race leader. And that gap is coming down. But for now, I would say the strategy has definitely worked. Which means fair play. Just go, you can hold your hands up and say fair play for keeping it pointing in the right direction in the rain. And it was fairly heavy rain. It was almost getting up towards wet conditions at one point. Is Sinofat going to put in fuel? Yes, he is. Full tank. Not quite. So he's not committed to going to the end. But I don't think anybody is because we've got 2 rain slots coming. That should be long enough for the tyres to be beneficial enough for wet tyres or intermediates. But staying out on slicks won't be an option. But he's still he hasn't even lost that much time to the cars he was around. He's actually gained a position on Deep Joe. And only 4 seconds behind Tomate, who's on the mediums though, so he might be able to close that gap as well. 4:04 on the last lap. Almost 3 seconds EZM took out of him. So a lot more confident on his newer, more up to temperature medium tyres. And let's see how everybody else is doing. June obviously came in for the soft tyres before. Zedaxium is about to come under some pressure from Wack here. Let's get back into 9th place. And I'm not sure Anken's really got the pace to get into that fight and make his way through the field. So I think he's going to be relying on whack jumps for Queen's Head to make this a challenge. I thought Zero Dexin was going straight into the back of Whack there. Must have dipped a wheel off the racing line into the water and just had no grip. He just immediately snaps on him. Not sure it would have done that with just... what happened? I guess Hank must have broke on the water. He must have gone straight on at the chicane. Loses the position to Marathon Man, who will gladly take that because he's had some problems as well. Because he was much higher than this. I think he's going to be relying on nailing the strategy to get himself back into the race and get some positions for LTR. Because they're currently 5th, 7th and 11th. But I would say it's looking good for SFE at the moment. 1st, 6th and 8th. That should be enough for them to get back to the head of the championship and win this at the moment. EZM still taking time out of Lorex, but not as much on this lap. So it looks like a much better lap from Lorex. Maybe having an easier time getting some temperature into the tyres now that he's properly dry. And he's still got like 12 seconds over essentially the nets of the same position, because he's got way closer in fuel to Lorex. Whereas EZM, he's pushing it with the wet parts of the track. Oh no, what happened to your Fack? Doesn't have damage, but he's definitely spun. Did he have a problem with Tomate? Because he's spun as well. And now Wack's not that far behind. He's only 5 seconds behind. So it's really costly for Tomate. I don't think they're going to be in the fight for the championship now. They're down to 2 drivers. I think it was an AGT driver that left or DC'd. It looks like it was. But yeah, not sure what happened there. Brum, if you know exactly what happened, please let me know. Because he was about 3-4 seconds behind. I wonder if he's maybe accidentally taken him out and had to wait to let him go, but he doesn't have any damage, neither did Tomate. So yeah, not sure exactly on that one, but he's going to be costly. I just had a spin. I wonder if Tomate maybe just had a spin on his own as well then, because he's lost positions. Now it's an SFE 1, 4 and 6, and that is definitely going to be enough. Oh, has Lorex made a mistake maybe? That gap is down to 3.5 seconds. Drivers have still got to be very careful going off over the curbs and the white lines when you're off the racing line. Yeah, he's 5.3 seconds down. He's at only 2.3, so 3 seconds out on this lap alone. Must have made a mistake, probably at the first chicane. Because obviously normally you would cut all the curb and as much as you can in the first part of the chicane. But this is swinging back so that Queen's Head might still be in this if EZM can get ahead. They're only 18 points back from Sim 3. Commentator's curse. Come on, you can get it going in the right direction. Just take it easy. He's lost 1 position. Back onto the dry part of the track. And he is going to be able to hold it in P3, but that gap, he lost 10 seconds there. And now it's Pereirex up into second on the soft tyres. What kind of times are he doing? 404s. He's taking a couple of seconds a lap out of Lorex as well. And Pereirex is just doing this for personal pride. VLR not really in the fight for the championship at this point. Yeah, apologies, perfectly timed. I don't know, I don't normally have that power. I do post comms, not live comms. That might be my first one. Hopefully it's the last one. But he's got the pace. As long as he just settles back in. He said he was pushing the limits with the wet parts of the track. So just needs to rein it back in a little bit. The funny thing is, I was about to come back in on lyrics to say he's actually doing this exactly right and just taking it easy. He's doing 406s. He's on worn tyres, and with the rear tyres more worn, he does need to be careful. But he's doing all the right things. He's still got a 10-second lead. And Deep Joe's doing the same, 407. He's doing pretty similar lap times to his teammate out front. So I think maybe the SFE drivers are just playing it safer with the wet parts of the track. We saw EZM was pushing the limits of it in a couple of places. Not sure if that's what caught him out when he spun, but you can see there, again, he's going too far on the inside. It's throwing him out even wider on the exit. Then he's almost all four wheels back into the wet part of the track. Let's see, how wet does it get when you're off track? It's almost into where slick tyres would be the best conditions, but obviously it's got a lot less grip still than the completely dry track he's on at the moment. Still gaining. They're cutting over the curbs. He's at not fully cutting it, but he's cutting it a little bit. Deep Joe kind of the same. How about June? Taking even less, playing it even safer. Still doing 404s though. One of the fastest laps, 4.0 from Deep Joe was actually the fastest. Lorik's doing a 408 on the last lap. I think that tyre wear is starting to kick in a little bit. The rain shouldn't be too far away. Obviously it's nice and sunny at the moment, but I think the weather before the rain is SO1. Yeah, June's having a really good race. Good lap times as well, 4.9 on the last one. Is on the soft tyres. Tomate's managed to catch up to Andrea. Maybe going to have a little bit of a battle there. How is Wack doing? Oh, has Wack made a mistake? Maybe on this lap? Because that gap was 5 seconds. Let's see, we're a while away from the next split. It's after the next chicane. Let's go back up to these two for a little bit. And Tomate's medium tyres are still working fairly well. Soft tyres not really having any major advantage. Gonna go side by side. We'll have to find out if Wack lost it on this lap a little bit later. Has to pull back in behind. But he's now got all of the track to play with, because the track is fully dry between the white lines, at least in this part. Still giving the curbs a wide berth in that second chicane. Gets a good run through the second chicane, has to go to the outside, getting pushed onto the wet part of the track. As long as he can get back on by the braking zone, should be okay. But Andrea's still got the inside, still slightly ahead as well. I wonder if Tomate's running a slightly higher downforce setup. That is possibly what's happening there, because he seems to be able to pull alongside, gets good exits, but then once they're neck and neck, just side by side with no slipstream, Andrea does seem to be able to pull away. Let's go to Wack. Did he lose the time on this lap? 4.1, no. I don't know when he lost the time then. But that gap has shrunk massively. Okay, to be fair, Wack was 5 seconds faster on the last lap. Wack does have a lot more worn softs. So Senior Fag definitely the fastest on track on those fresh softs. He's going to be kicking himself for that spin. As Deep Joe's made a mistake as well. He's got damage again. I don't think it was the same. It must have been the same place. Yeah, that must have been the same place again. Down through the fast right-hander. We just caught him out again. So let's have a quick check up front. Lorix still... Oh, I think there's clouds rolling in. I think I saw some clouds rolling in, but Lorix out in front. Just doing consistent lap times, not making any mistakes. He's losing a little bit of time. You can see him playing it safe on the exit there in particular. He's only got one more lap until he's got to pit for fuel. So he's he's timed this very well because the clouds are rolling in. He's at M402 on the last lap, so he is definitely getting into better conditions, getting more confidence. June up into P4 for LTR could be huge, especially with Deep Joe making a couple of mistakes. Senior Fight's not far away from getting into the fight with both of them. But he's only got one lap, potentially. He could go further. But it's looking like it's starting to get cloudy. I would guess the rain is coming. End of this lap, maybe. Now, Senior Fact probably just needs to sit behind here and try and draft past on the straights. Which he should be able to do, especially past Tomate if he's running a slightly higher downforce setup. Gets a good run. Oh, and Andrea picks up half a second. That is going to cost him both of them positions at the moment. Let's see. Senior Back is gaining. Decides to pump. Just wants to gain one position. He can gain the second one. If they can even gain it this lap. Oh, this chicane. Tomate's trying. Not sure if that was the right idea from Fact. Maybe should have just tried to go immediately past. He's going to get the position now anyway. Nothing Andre can do about the acceleration of the Viper. And Fact should be able to get this position. Yep, pulls to the inside. Completely ahead by the braking zone, and Andre is going to fight back. Does manage to get that position back. Not the one on Fact though, so Fact up into P6. It's not raining yet, but you can see it's in the air. You can see it starting to roll in. Andrea still holding that position ahead of Tomate. He's going to get that position with the penalty as long as he stays close. How's Wack doing? He's still 13 seconds down. He's improved his lap time, down to 4:04. Marathon Man in 11th, potentially going to be able to get this position. Is it starting to rain? The wipers aren't on, but it is wet on the racing line. No, maybe not. Maybe he's just going slightly off track in a couple of places. And that is what he's showing. Yeah, it's still wet at the edges of the track, interestingly. Thought it would have been completely dry by now. Yeah, and the clouds keep rolling in even more. Gap down to 5.5 seconds at the front. EZM's closing that gap as well. This could be very interesting. Lorix has to come in. So he's praying for rain on this lap. Is that going to be a penalty? It was off all wheels over the white line, but the track limits at that corner are a little bit weird. Looks like he's got away with it. Coming in, is everybody else going to follow him in? Or are they going to try one more? Nope, Priority's coming in. EZM coming in as well. I'm assuming the rain must be on the radar, because these guys have got the fuel to go further. June coming in as well. Facts close up a lot on the brakes, as long as he doesn't get a penalty. Got a big fuel advantage, so should gain at least one position on Deep Joe. Don't think he's going to be close enough to gain on June. See how everybody else is doing. Everybody's coming in. Marathon Man not able to get past Zera Third Axiom. Anken, that front of that car is a bit of a mess. Then we've got Fab10 and Calitro half a lap back. Fab10's actually gone early onto the intermediates. Ooh, and almost loses it on the exit there. Yeah, Lorix out ahead on intermediates. EZM's putting more fuel than everyone, so he's definitely going to be going flat out. The lobby looks like it's struggling a little bit. Don't know if it's me. Hopefully it's just me. We do not need a red flag right now. Still not raining, at least in this section. Going to do a quick run through, just so that we have all the gaps in case the worst happens. Okay, so 2.8 second gap for Lorix. We saw he was taking it really easy on the dry tyres. Let's see what his pace is going to be like on the intermediates. At the start of the race, I would have said Pererex and EZM had the pace advantage, so this could be a good three-way fight for the lead. Wipers are on, it has started raining. Tomate's back did get ahead of Deep Joe, and it looks like Andrea just gets past Deep Joe as well. Then we've got Wacky in 9th, Zeraxium 10th, Marathman 11th, Anken, Fab 10. That 1 minute gap should come down, so under 1 minute I think, once he gets to the finish line. Then we've got Calitro still got to try and survive on the soft tyres. It's still rain, it looks hard, but it's not above 1/3 yet, so he should be able to make it to the pits okay. Oh, we can hear the rain getting harder. Should be able to make it, as long as he takes it easy coming into the pit lane. Should be okay. Oh, and he's at end with a half-second penalty. Can't really afford to be doing that. We know he's got the pace, but there's only 6 laps left to go, and they're probably going to the end. I don't think anybody's going to pit for soft tyres, even with the last weather slot being dry. You can really start hearing the rain come down even harder. Oh, I'm not sure if Deep Joe was coming back from off track there. They're trying to work together. Tomate and Senor Fat both pretty close to June, so there's going to become a three-way fight for P4 and potentially a three-way fight for the lead, as EZM's closing a lot on Pererex. I was going to lose that time there. Gap between P1 and 2 stay pretty stable. And we're into wet conditions. They're getting a little bit of aquaplaning now. You can see Lorix breaking off the racing line now, because that is where there's more grip. He's losing a little bit of time to Pererex. Tomate has managed to get past June. June, I wonder if June is going to let Senor Fat go here. Although maybe not in this section, because June should be faster through the Porsche curves. Ooh, on a little bit of a drift. Yeah, and you can see they're already closing up a little bit on Tomate actually. But they lose it through the exit of the Porsche curves. So in fact, close behind. I think it might be time for some team orders here. Let's send it back go, see if he can keep with Tamate. Oh, Proteus made a mistake. Easy to do. Potentially in the last chicane somewhere. He's dropped behind EZM. Oh, he's really sliding that car around. Losing a little bit of time to Lorex in that section. But he should gain some or all of that back on the straight. Oh, as long as he can keep it pointed in the right direction. Oh, he's stressing me out, EZM. So that is half a second gone, and he's still losing more time. Pereira's got half-second penalty. June's still ahead of Senor, but I think now he's letting him go. Yeah, and then pull him behind, try and get some slipstream. You still want to keep June ahead of the other SFE drivers. EZM actually gained a lot in that section, so I think Lorex must have made a small mistake through the chicane, or he was just taking a lot easier. He's definitely not safe for this win, but he's by far made the least mistakes in the wet conditions so far. Gets it stopped nicely for that one. And on the exit was a little bit of a twitch, but he keeps it going. And now we've probably got a couple of laps of this kind of weather, RO8, then it's going to drop to RO6, and that might be the time when the intermediates are actually the right tyres for the job. As we've got Senor Fak almost about to get past Tamate, it looks like he will do. So Senor Fak up into P4 now. 11 seconds up ahead to Pererex. It's going to be a big ask. He is going to benefit a little bit from the catch-up effect and being further back on the track and it being slightly drier. But 11... Oh, no, that's not right. That's not where you want to be, Fak. And he's going to lose a lot of time out there. Going to be up around 5 seconds. Thought Deep Joe was maybe going to follow him there. Whack. Ooh, closed up to these guys on the intermediate tyres. Does have a half-second penalty. So yeah, I think Senor Fat's task now has just got to be try and get back to P4 if he can. Don't think he's going to be able to get any further than that without some help. EZM is still closing this gap down for the lead though. And if EZM gets past Lorex and Senor Fat can get up to P4, I think it could be quite close between SFE and LTR. Although, I think that was Spack making another small mistake. June's actually looking to potentially get into P4 themselves. He's really managed to stick with Tamate pretty quickly after they got past. Oh, Tamate's overcooked it. Should be the position, yeah, and June back up into P4. That's also going to bring Senor back in a little bit closer to Tamate. It's the gap 2 seconds up front, EZM. We've seen how fast he is, but we've seen what it costs. We've seen the mistakes. We've got 5 laps to go. And Tamate having a look at June again. Oh, June having a bit of a snap over the curbs. Caught Tamate, wasn't able to try and take advantage. I mean, it was a great strategy decision, like fair play. The other person who tried it was Carlitro, but they stayed out on softs, so they had to pit again anyway. So going on mediums, suffering for a couple of laps. It's working out well so far. The only problem is I'm not sure what he's going to be able to defend with if AEZM does get there without making any more mistakes. Because the Viper's just that good. Yeah, it really has been a great drive. Like, he made one mistake, I think, when it was properly wet and he was on dries, and which is perfectly understandable. And I don't think I've seen him made a mistake in the wet conditions yet. But that gap is down below a second, below 7/10 now. EZM's going to be getting a nice slipstream. He just needs to be patient with this. He doesn't need to force the issue immediately. Gets it in nicely. If he gets a good exit, he might be able to get it done on this next straight. Didn't get an amazing exit, but the second part was good compared to Lorex. Having a few more switches, and EZM should just be able to drive past with the advantage from the Viper. Yeah, Lorex goes to cover the inside. Catches EZM out a little bit, because he's only managed to pull level. Lorex got the inside. Managed to defend. Nicely defended as well. I thought EZM was going to have that pretty easily. Oh, is that wide from EZM? You can get a half-second penalty for going out too wide there. No, it looks like he was just okay. Still 6/10 back, so he's not going to be going for the move. Sinofak has really caught up to these guys very quickly. So Mate's got back ahead of June, but not by much. But Sinofak has taken 4 seconds out of that gap on this lap, so he is flying. Wax picks up a half-second penalty. He's not too far away from the SFE drivers, but he can't be affording getting those penalties. We're back into proper intermediate conditions now. And as it's drying out, this is where the bigger advantage is going to come for the cars behind. So that's maybe why Sinofak's able to close up so much. Because if we just flick forward, you can see it jumping up a little bit each time as we go forward. Doesn't look like either of them are going to make the move. EZM was possibly looking for it on Lorex. Might be able to get it here though. Not taking any chances this time because goes fully to the inside. Should be able to just drive around. And he does. But now he's got to hold this position, and he's got to try and break the slipstream from Lorex. Which he did in the first stint, but that was largely because of battling and mistakes happening behind him, so it'll be interesting to see if he can actually pull that gap now. Keeping it around the half-second mark for now. Oh, but they're both wide. Is anybody going to get a penalty for that? Yeah, Lorex half-second. EZM managing to get away with it. So that is important for EZM, and he's got a second gap. Let's go back to this battle because we've maybe got another one coming. Sinofak getting close. And June still managing to stick with Tamate. Any battles going on behind? The guys behind look pretty locked into their positions without any mistakes. Top 9 could potentially change. Right, we're looking 0.8 of a second. Lorex is closing in this first sector. And he's going to need to because he needs that slipstream. Gets an okay exit, but he's right on the fringes of the slipstream. I'm going to quickly try and figure out the points. eSports, that's what we're looking for. Somebody is updating them as we speak. So, it's a 2-point advantage for Sim3 at the moment. And that could easily change. Oh, it looks like there's still potentially some points to come in. So the gap is back up to a second now. That's pretty much outside slipstream range. Is June going to let Senior Fac through again? They're just ever so slightly losing the toe from Tamate. Yeah, June's not defending. Yeah, it does let him go. We're getting down to dry conditions again. But again, 3 laps left to go. Unless you think it's going to dry out properly, it'd be a risk to go for a pit stop here. Maybe someone down at the back, maybe Wack could try it. But it's still 1/3 on the actual racing line. And Wacky is getting close to Tomate. And he's going to get the move. Both looking to keep the tyres cool. So I don't think they're looking at pitting anytime soon. Only 6 seconds up to P3. It's not impossible. A little bit of help for some mistakes maybe. Could have a chance at P3. Oh, did EZM pick up half second? He must have. Gap's still 0.2. This will be a huge swing for SFE if he can get this position back. It would make it a hell of a lot safer. Oh, and he goes to the inside. Ooh, he's trying. Oh, and he's got a half-second penalty. EZM went a tiny bit wide. He may get a half-second penalty for that. No, he's okay. You cannot afford to get a half-second penalty again. You just cannot. Lorex having one on the last lap was a gift. It was just going to let him clear and get away. Pererex is in. Okay, so Pererex, I mean, he's nothing to lose. His team aren't in the championship fight. He's just going for the win. 3 laps on a set of soft tyres. It's bold. What's the track looking like? It is slick conditions. It's great for FAC. It's slightly better for LTR than SFE because they're in higher positions. But they've all four of the drivers are going to have gained from that. Marathon Man is too far back to gain and he's staying out. I think Pererex is going to be the only one on medium tyres. Okay, someone needs to explain that strategy to me. Surely it's softs for 3 laps. Surely. In these conditions? How much has he lost to get back to P3? He's got 25 seconds to make up. They're doing 4:08s at the moment. They're going to be doing low 4 minutes in the properly wet track. As Tomate looks to the inside. But yeah, the 296, especially his 296, just does not have the legs to get alongside the Viper. Lorex is still keeping this close. He's within half a second. If you can force EZM into another mistake, the race for the win could still be on. But EZM look fine through there. Oh, he's going wide on the exit. I don't know how he's not getting a penalty for that. It looks like he's going all... It's hard to tell because of the rain on the track, but it looks like he's going all 4 wheels over the white line. And June's actually managed to get past Tomate as well, so that should be enough for LTR to get back into the lead. Provisionally, with 3 laps to go. And at this point, it's basically down to a two-way fight between LTR and SFE. How close are the SFE drivers? Wack's not really closing in on them, but they're not closing in on Tomate or June. So there's not really any positions for them to gain. EZM doesn't have any penalties this lap. Lorik's still with that half second. And the gap's opened up a little bit, although he has a great corner there. But this is going to need to be the laps of Lorix's life if he's going to get back into the slipstream of EZM and make this a fight for P1. I don't think it'd quite be enough. It might be enough for a tie, actually. If Lorix gets this position, it might be enough to tie it up. This is going to be incredibly tense for the last couple of laps. Let's go back to Pererex. Yeah, he hasn't gained any time. I think he was a little bit too aggressive. Also, kind of needed to be on the soft tyres. Really? Mediums is a choice at this point in the race. But he should gain a lot through this section now because it's properly dry, but he's not going to be able to get back to where he was. Marathon Man, I think, has gained a position on Zodaxium, so that's another couple of points for LTR. This might be enough. June's got a half-second gap over Tomate. Lorix is pushing now. Got the gap under a second. Rear tyres are going first, so he's got to be a little bit careful. Needs a good run through this corner. Looks okay, but the Viper, straight line speed, is going to just pull him out of the slipstream range. So he's going to be barely getting any help at all. But he did close up in that last sector. These do need to keep the tyres in check a little bit. Especially Loris, because if the rear tyre goes completely, it's possibly even going to be worse than... Well, it's probably not going to be worse than being on slicks on a wet track, but it's not going to be good. Really pushes it on the entry into that chicane, but doesn't get the exit. That's another half second, at least going to be more than that by the time they get to the end of the straight. So in fact, June's tyres looking pretty good. Still needs to keep them cool though. 2 more laps to go. It's only going to get drier and drier. It's going to make them overheat even more. What is the gap now? Oh, Pererex has made a mistake. Got front damage. Don't think it's going to be enough for the guys behind to take advantage of, especially because he's on the dry tyres, which are the right tyres to be on right now. But it does mean Wack, probably more importantly, the SFE drivers, Deep Joe and Andrea, shouldn't be coming under any pressure from him charging his way back through the pack. Tomate's got a big part to play in this. If he could get past both LTR drivers, and if Lorix can maybe get back up to EZM, there's a chance this could swing the other way. How's Tomate's exit? It's okay, pretty much matches June. Like I said, there's a possibility he's running slightly more downforce. Not 100% sure compared to June, but I think compared to Andrea in the 296, he is running a little bit more downforce. He's not really gaining in the slipstream, he's gaining a little bit, but you probably expect it to be a little bit more than that. Oh, Lorex has made a small mistake. He was pushing, he had to. He had to push to try and get the win. They need those points. Now I think he needs to just go back to playing it safe. He can't afford to lose a second. He needs to hope for some mistakes behind. Fax tyres, they're holding on okay. They should be okay to make it to the end. Dunes are a lot more evenly worn. Sinofac's front tyres are the ones that are going to go first. If they could break the slipstream from Tomate, that would be massive for LTR. Because SFE do not have anything to challenge these guys without a mistake. Gap is up to 9 seconds and they're not closing it. Tomate gets a really nice run through the chicanes though, and it's right onto the back of June again. As we start the final lap. One more lap, intermediates on a dry track. For pretty much everybody, the only person who gambled on going back to dries was Pererex, and he's actually lost a position to Marathon Man. So that's another couple of points for LTR. I'd be impressed if he can hold that position. But Pererex has made a few mistakes. He's just taking it super easy. He's getting hit from his teammate. I'm not sure if he's paused or not, maybe. He was going so slow through that chicane. But he caught his teammate, but that might be the position locked in for Marathon Man if he is. Yeah, I think he's at pause, that's why. He's messing up his own teammate. So yeah, let's go back up to the front house. The gap's coming down. The gap is coming down. Oh, Tomato's got a half-second penalty. That is huge for LTR. If they keep it clean, I think this is theirs to lose. Lorex is definitely pushing to try and bring that gap down. I mean, at this point, there really is nothing to lose. He might not know that. But how things are unfolding behind him, he needs that position and more. And these guys, I'm pretty sure they all race in VR. I'm assuming you can still see the penalties for everybody. So they will know, they should know Tomate has a half-second penalty. Oh, and Tomate's having a big slide on the exit. That's going to cost him a chunk of time to June as well. Should keep June safe into Indianapolis. Fack and the Viper definitely not going to come under any pressure. Lorex doesn't look like he's going to be able to challenge. So EZM just needs to keep it clean through the Porsche curves. Tyres are easily going to make it. Same for Lorex, to be fair. Goes a little bit wide, trying to push it there. Yeah, and Tomate's not close enough. He's going to lose a second here. Not going to be enough for the SFE guys behind to try and take advantage. Marathon Man currently has 9th place locked down. I think this is the title for LTR at the moment. But EZM, he's going to come right through the final couple of corners, exit the Porsche curves. Oh, and Lorex, oh, he was... That's what happens when the rear tyres go. But EZM, he dominated from the start. Had to make a bit of a comeback after a mistake in the rain. But he's going to come across the line. He's going to get, I think he got pole position. But he's going to get the win. He's going to get the fastest lap. It's not quite going to be enough for Queen's Head. Lorex is going to take a great P2 with a great strategy. Very well executed. Not sure if Senor Fat maybe let June through to take the podium. A very well-deserved podium in a great race from June. Super consistent. Senor Fat gets 4th. Tomasei gets 5th. Andrea and Deep Joe are going to come 6th and 7th. Then we've got Whack Jamp's going to come across in 8th. Picks up a half-second penalty at the end, but not really going to matter. And then Marathon Man going across in 9th. I think they're pretty sure this is going to seal it, as long as he makes the flag. Which would be absolute heartbreak if something was to go wrong now. He's got a 22-second gap over Pereira, who tried the dry tyres at the end, didn't work out. And yeah, that is Marathon Man P9, and that provisionally is the title to LTR. Pereira's going to come across on the medium tyres. Obviously no chance of the fastest lap after whatever was happening at the start of the final one. Anken going to cross in 11th. Gets past Zadaxium, who got caught with his teammate at the end. So Ankenaba going to come across in 11th. Solid race, last minute in a car that doesn't really suit the track. Zadaxium going to come across in 12th. And then we've got Fab 10 and Carlitro. Not sure if they're going to make the flag or not, but they're currently going to be 13th and 14th. Not going to affect the overall standings in terms of your winners. But yeah, GG to honestly everyone in that race. Lorex in particular for the strategy. He was the only one who really managed to pull it off. Calitro tried a similar strategy, but Lorex absolutely nailed it. Ultimately, it was just pace in the end. I think the Viper a little bit better suited to the conditions than the Audi, so great effort. And great effort from June as well. Very consistent race. And Senor Fat coming back from his couple of mistakes to get P3 and P4. Just been a great race as Fab 10 now comes towards the line. Carlitro might not, Fab 10 I think will just about get to the finish line in time. Might pick up a penalty for that. No, just about okay. Oh, I think he might have barely got there. Let's have a quick check of the results. Yeah, 56.9. Nobody, only a couple of people within a second. Deep Joe actually got pretty close, 57.2. I think we actually missed that lap. 57.3 for Pereirex as well. A couple of people got close to that fastest lap, but 56, enough to hold it. Could have been crucial, actually. Who was closest? Deep Joe was closest. Could have been a 4-point swing for SFE if they'd managed to get it. But yeah, GG guys. That is the final round for Season 10. Season 11 will be starting on the 6th of September. If you want to get involved, I think you've got a couple of weeks, maybe 1 week still to sign up. So if anybody's interested, hop into the Discord and get yourself sorted in there. And yeah, we'll see you guys for the next season in 4 weeks' time.